This is my very first TechTO, so it's actually pretty cool to be doing this on a stage in front of all of you for my very first time, so thank you. If I were to do next, awesome, okay. So my presentation today is called Going Out on a Limb, and I'm going to share 5 things that I've learned since I started my company. But first, I'll tell you a bit about myself. I'm 27 years old. I'm the co-founder and CMO of Flipped, a digital wellness company that's re-engineering healthy screen habits for the next generation. And since I started my company about 2 years ago, I've learned a lot. And so what I'm going to share with you today is for anyone who's a founder, or you're thinking about getting into startups, or maybe you are just looking for a change of pace. So I think there's something in this presentation for all of you. So 5 key pieces of advice, here we go. Number 1, go with your gut. And I think that this is actually the first step for anyone who wants to take the plunge into startup world, is that you need to start taking risks, and you need to be comfortable with the decisions that you make. And when you take a risk, you need to learn from your mistakes and be okay with moving forward. Number 2, learn to love being thrifty. This one is actually my favorite because I'm really good at it, and a lot of people are not. So in the first 2 years when I started my company, I actually probably spent about $500 on myself. I ate ramen noodles and canned tuna way too often, like more than I'd like to admit. I actually even worked out at a jungle gym, like a schoolyard playground, because I couldn't afford a gym membership. This is a rite of passage, guys. When you're starting a company, or you're taking a plunge into moving from a comfortable, cushy salary, you need to be comfortable with not spending a lot of money. And this is actually something that happens in startup world, is that you need to be lean. So you need to be comfortable with that. Number 3, appreciate what matters and don't take things for granted. So what I mean by this is something that it's not super obvious right away, but after experiencing what it takes to start a company, you really need the support of the people that care about you. And they're always going to be there for you, but you have to reach out to them when you need their help. You can't just forget to call your mom or not spend time with your best friend just because you're super stressed out about your tech company. You actually have to reach out when you need help from people. And so don't take those people for granted, the people who support you. Number 4, never stop learning. And this is really important for me because I come from a family of educators, and so this has been instilled with me for my whole life. When you stop learning, you stop growing. So you should always be learning and trying to find people who can help you grow, getting expertise from mentors, anyone who's willing to help you. And you should never think that you're an expert or pretend that you know everything. You should always find and be open to speaking with people who are willing to help you. And finally, number 5 is that you need to embrace the present. And so something that we often do is that we look ahead. We're always looking ahead to what's next. You know, that next fundraising opportunity, the next milestone, next paycheck. But you have to be okay with what you have today, or you will never be satisfied. You have to be content and happy with what you have. You have to take a step back and evaluate, you know, is this canned tuna really that awful? Or is this working out on a playground really so terrible? And you learn to enjoy it. And so these are my 5 key pieces of advice to you guys. I think there's a lot in here that you can take away and apply to your life, whether or not you're trying to start a company. And the funny thing is I actually wrote about this in a blog post a year ago when I was moving back to Toronto because we had been bootstrapping and we finally had some money to kickstart our company. And so if you want to read the full story, it's right on my Twitter, which is back to this whole let's tweet tech hashtag TechTO. So check it out on my Twitter. It's up there. It's a really good read. And it's actually 6 things, so there's a bonus in there. Anyways, thank you very much, guys.
Question.
I've never been here before, so I don't know what's next.
Questions?
Questions? Anyone? Who's got a question? Yeah.
Sorry, hi. First time at TechTO. Woo woo.
Yeah.
Just a quick, maybe I missed it, but what's your company do? Like, what do you?
So we're a digital wellness company that's re-engineering healthy screen habits for the next generation. Really? Do you want me to get into what I do, or yes? So we use technology to nudge people away from spending too much time on technology so that they can be happier, healthy, more present, more productive, and focus on the things that really matter to them.
How did you get inspired
to
start this business?
Well, it actually started with my co-founder, Christian, who's sitting right there. Say hello. So he's got a younger brother who's about a decade younger than him, and he gave his little brother his very first smartphone, and Christian was just terrified about what happened to him, like how quickly his behavior had changed. And so we really identified that this is a big problem that all of us are experiencing. I think you can even see that from the Google I/O just like a couple weeks ago. Their digital wellness is now finally like a thing, even though we've been doing this for a while. So yeah, that's what inspired us.
Last question anywhere?
From this side. Oh no.
Okay. Did you raise money for your startup, and how, like, what were your experiences like that when you went through, like, starting up a company at such a young age?
So we raised money so far from angels. A lot of the things that I talked about in here was actually my experience well before we even raised money. So it was in that whole bootstrapping period when you're really trying to figure things out. But yeah, we raised money from angels, and that has been a very positive experience. Especially in Toronto, it's been really awesome angel groups that have been helping us.